In this video, I'm going to briefly talk about read aloud text. Read aloud text is text that is, as it sounds like, read aloud to players. You'll find it in many adventures, although some do use a list of bullet points instead. Read aloud text lets players know what their characters see. That makes it pretty important in a role-playing game. What typically shouldn't be done with read aloud text is just reading it aloud. At least, not without looking it over first. Now that might seem a bit odd, given that's what it's for. However, there may be problems with it that need fixing. You need to read it first and then adapt it, and there's a good chance you will need to adapt it, no matter how well written it is. One thing to look out for is the verbal equivalent of a wall of text. Players are unlikely to want to listen to something being described for several minutes, nor are you likely to want to read it. This is perhaps the worst error, and will require some drastic trimming. If that crops up more than once in an adventure, it's not a great sign. A subcategory of the wall of text is going into too much detail. You don't want to describe every single thing, relevant or not, that characters see on, for example, first entering a room. Some things are more important than others. If there's a monster in the room, characters are going to see that. Don't describe every item on the table first. You do want to describe the important things, but in many cases only in enough detail that players know they exist. Don't, for example, describe a table, everything on the table, and everything written on everything on the table in the initial read. If there's material on the table that's going to be important, make sure players know there's a table and that there's something on it, but save the full descriptions until asked for. Another problem is more minor, and why I said there's a good chance you will need to adapt read aloud text no matter what. Namely, the author of the read aloud text wrote it the way they speak, or perhaps write, not the way you do. You'll want to alter and paraphrase it so that it's in your style and you're comfortable reading it. Read it aloud to see how it sounds when you do, and make notes of anything you want to change. That's it for this Some Brief Thoughts on video. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe in order to be notified when future videos are released.